Hello and welcome to a bit of Dungeons and Dragons solo play in the world of Greyhawk. And what this is going to be is a little bit of backstory about what's happened so far and perhaps a brief combat. I'm not going to go very far with it in this first solo roleplay video, but this is kind of where I want the focus to go. So, this is set, like I said, in the world of Greyhawk, the world of Orth or Oith. I think that's how some people pronounce it. This is Gary Gygax's world for his Dungeons and Dragons campaign. Um, and anyone, many of you probably know all about that, or you can look it up. But anyway, here's a map. This is from the Dungeons and Dragons Dungeon Master's Guide 2025. And as you can see, this map of the world of Greyhawk, I'm going to focus the camera on the location of this adventure. And there it is. It's called Blackstone. And Blackstone is a mining community. So I almost screwed up and said farming community. But anyway, it is a mining community. And I have already played some other adventures with the same characters. Now, a little bit, first of all, about the characters and the name of what I consider to be the main protagonist. Her name is she is an elf, and her name is Elfstar, and represented by this miniature. I'll try to hold it so you can see. Now, this is an old miniature, by the way. I'm not sure if you can see that. It may be as old. Let's see. I can't really see that. Anyway, sorry. I don't think I've ever actually tried to find out how old that is. I'm sorry about the departure there from the main. But anyway, I got her name from this little comic book, Dark Dungeons. Yes, this is a Christian tract and written by a man named Jack Chick Publications, and it is very much an anti-Dungeons and Dragons piece of material. Satanic panic to the nth degree. So I read this, and there was one part. I want to show you this. Oh, okay. So you can look this up online. But anyway, this character here, her name is Miss Frost. She is the head of a witches' coven in a satanic temple, and she says, in this, see, don't be stupid, Debbie. I think you'd better let Elfstar take care of things. You're getting out of control. And of course, Debbie says, I don't want to be Elfstar anymore. I want to be Debbie. Oh, God. Okay, makes me sick. Anyway, that's where I got the name. And there's another name in there, Blackleaf, and I actually used that. Thief character. She was killed, and I decided that Orcus raised her from the dead, and now she goes around, basically murdering people. She's like a revenant or something, an intelligent undead, like a zombie on 11 or some crap like that. I don't know how else to put that. But anyway, so that's one of the characters. And the other one, let me show you Elfstar. Sorry, this is disorganized. Um, this is Elfstar. Okay, so this is her character sheet. And I'll go ahead and sort of. There we go. And I'm obviously not the best artist, but there's Elfstar. Fighter mage. So anyway, and she has accompanying her And although that miniature is a cleric of Pelor, the sun god from the world of Greyhawk, you can see this symbol of Pelor on the shield, right? And actually, this is a named character, but anyway, that doesn't matter. Today, he is Aldous. And this is a picture I chose online to be Aldous. Right, so this is Aldous. And this is supposed to be Elfstar. I did not draw these. These are much better than my drawing. So, okay. All right. Obviously. Anyway. um, they've already been on adventures together. So, uh, like I said, it's a mining community, and it's sort of nestled, as I understand it from what I read. I imagine like almost a crescent shape environment where it's like just a huge wall in a semicircle of rock strata, right? And so there's openings on the side of these cliff face. It's cliff face, right? And so you got like these openings that go into mine tunnels and shafts and whatnot. They actually have scaffolding, and they have uh, uh, cranks with ropes. You know, they have elevators, sort of, you know, manual elevators. Anyway, um, but she and several other adventurers. I won't go into details about the other characters or anything, just to hurry it along. But they went into these caverns and discovered a strange structure, a strange building, a strange edifice that should not have been inside a mine or inside caves. They also found a 1970s panel van with a wizard painted on the side. And I rather like those. Imagine with a bar and a shag carpet and all that, and maybe a disco ball. And I think the idea came to me unconsciously. It percolated up into my conscious mind from some of the imagery and the advertisements of, I think it's Dungeon Crawl Classics, Goodman Games, and I really like the idea. So what they did is they found a way to make this machine run on magic. Don't ask how. I just decided that that's the case because I thought it would be fun. So they drove that machine very far. I mean, you can imagine these characters like can't really read the labels until they perhaps cast a spell to be able to do so. I mean, getting drunk on the Jack Daniels and such. That's what I. But anyway, they've had other adventures like the Sunless Citadel. It's in the Tales of the Yawning Portal or whatever. I took them through that more or less. And anyway, but they're originally from Blackstone, and so Elfstar was in the Shady Dragon Inn, and when she discovered, actually, she didn't discover in the inn. She discovered when she left the inn one day that a couple guys are missing, and they are construction workers, and they are actually building. There's a couple projects going on. One, there's a gnome who is having a house built, and that isn't really that's not really important. But there's also a temple being built to a god called Jaskar, a lawful good deity of mountains and things like that. So I get this, by the way, my information comes from this Greyhawk book from the third edition period. It's called The Living Greyhawk Gazetteer. As you can see there is Mordenkainen or Mordenkainen. I think that's how you pronounce it. Anyway, um, and I think I can just go ahead and give you a little bit of information because um, there is a rivalry in my campaign between two cults. There is Bralm, and that's Bralm, the Flying Queen, the Hive Goddess, the Toiling Lady, neutral, lawful, neutral, lesser goddess of insects and industriousness. So there's a cult dedicated to her that have some sort of idea of a socialist, idealistic society that they want to build, and they're sort of working, doing sort of a Robin Hood sort of thing. They're living in these caves and caverns in the Cairn Hills. Now, the Cairn Hills are close to Blackstone. This is where there are all sorts of ancient tombs. And if I remember correct from my reading, this is sort of how the city of Greyhawk prospered and became so powerful. It's because of the economics and the money flowing in from adventurers going into these tombs and raiding and robbing and so forth and so on. But anyway, Brahm is a goddess of insects. So you have these guys on the one hand, this cult, and then you have another cult dedicated to an evil goddess named Beltar. Now, Beltar is very much the enemy of Jaskar. But if you give me a second, I'll give you a little bit of. Okay, so Beltar is chaotic evil, also has chaotic neutral worshippers, lesser goddess of malice, caves, and pits. So the perfect place for this cult to be, obviously, would be in caves or caverns. Now, the head of this cult, I have forgotten. I've got it written down somewhere. I've forgotten the head of the Brahmites, as I'll call them. But the head of this cult of Beltar is a drow priestess, a drow cleric. Her name is Isar, and she is very much antagonistic toward Loth, the demon queen of spiders, the drow goddess Loth. So she's not exactly well loved by drow or anyone else for that matter. And anyway, so they sort of go head to head once in a while. They live in the caverns and caves as well, except further away. So they'll meet and do skirmishes, battles, and then they'll split apart or whatever. That's how I imagine it happening. Um, but anyway, what's happened is through their tunneling and exploring, the cult of the evil goddess Beltar have they have found a they have found a passage into the mines in and around Blackstone. And they had bullied a former miner turned construction worker into sabotaging the uh, the efforts to build the temple to Jaskar. So people are getting hurt at the work site, almost killed. And finally, when they think that this guy's going to alert the authorities as to the cult's presence near, inside the mines, then they finally captured him. So anyway, Elfstar finds out that you've got two guys missing. There was a fellow followed him, and he was seen, and he was captured ultimately. So she took two um, local fighting men. She hired them. They're from the well, she didn't hire them. They're actually like guards sent by Greyhawk, to be like a defense for the small community. So, I mean, it was their duty. So they went with her. But anyway, they discovered that the goblins and orcs and such, the bugbears, these creatures that are in the cult of Beltar that were sent there as sort of a detachment or whatever to sort of work that side of the town, as it were. You know what I mean, right? They Many of them were dead. The goblins, there were goblin bodies everywhere, and what they discovered is that now there's undead. They discovered the tomb, an ancient tomb, one of those cairns, right, mentioned earlier, and there's a mummy in it, and this mummy. There's also skeleton warriors and such, and things like so. It was both warriors were killed. They were actually just turned to dust right in front of Elfstar, and she did the smart thing. She did the Misty Step, got 30 feet away, ran, did Misty Step again, and just kept, running until she was back outside in the light of day. So now she has contacted her friend, the cleric mentioned earlier, and they have proceeded to go into the mine shaft. heading in the direction from whence she had fled. So that's kind of the story. And I was watching a YouTube channel earlier. I wish I could remember the name of it, but this fella he hits solo role play, solo D&D play, and the way he makes notes is, I mean, he will set up the scene, and it would be like a sentence or two, and then he goes into it. And the way I tend to do it is I will write down what the characters are thinking, feeling, what they say to each other, what they see, smell, um, just a lot more detail, almost approaching a story. And but then sometimes I'll just do notes, and so I have more detail to offer up. I mean, if anyone, if you see this video and you're interested in that sort of thing, you like the solo role play stuff, then solo D&D. I don't want to say I said role play, but I would rather probably say solo play because after all, there's role playing, and then there's also playing a game, and obviously it's a little different than my sitting down with a group of people and me playing, just one character and trying to really see it through that character's eyes. Um, anyway, minor detail. So, so here they are, and the first thing they come upon is an ogre. But the ogre falls forward dead because its back is all bloodied, and it looks like there's a few arrows sticking in its back. So Elfstar, she advances forward. She's the one that has, obviously, she can see in the dark. He's a human, by the way. He has a crush on her, by the way. And then out comes a shambling corpse. As you can see, I think it's one of the miners / construction workers. I think it's definitely one of those missing workers. Skeleton warriors emerge from the cairns before her and her companion. Okay, so that's kind of me setting it up for the combat and for more story details and such. And I have never done a solo Dungeons and Dragons game play video before, and not that I actually rolled any dice or played anything, but I'm working up to that. Hopefully, some of you out there would be interested in watching it. And until then, have a good life. Yeah. See ya.